Okay, how's it going, guys? We have a E46 I went and picked up last night, and it's throwing the belt. And from what I could tell, the belt looks like it's still on there, but we're gonna go ahead and pop it apart and see what's going on. That's a pretty common problem on these E46s. A lot of times the idler or tensioner pulley will derail and freeze up and throw the belt. So let's see what's going on. Okay, sorry for the background noise. The neighbors seem to be jackhammering something. Anyway, you're gonna need a few tools here. You're gonna need, first of all, let me get you up here so you can see. You're gonna need the fan clutch tools, which are right here. That's gonna take the fan clutch nut off. You're gonna need a pair of dikes, and that's to get the snaps out of the front cover. You're gonna need a 10mm. In this case, I have it on an impact. So let's go ahead and get over here. Let's get the dikes. Let's go ahead and get this guy here popped out. Let's get this guy popped out. I don't know what the hell the neighbors are doing, but it's really starting to piss me off. So freaking loud. Okay, separate this. Set that guy up out of the way. So at this point in time, we're gonna go ahead and pull the airbox. I'm gonna grab a screwdriver. Okay, so you're gonna go ahead and take off the little snaps up here at the top of the box, and they just pop off like so. And there's two 10s here on the side. So we'll set our screwdriver off to the side. We'll go ahead and grab our impact. We'll put those up there. Keep them out of the way. At that point in time, you should be able to grab this. And you should be able to fish it loose from there and go ahead and pull it out. And we'll set him over here out of the way. So at that point in time, don't forget about this little guy too. We'll put him in as we're putting the airbox back in. This little duct that goes, I believe, I don't know, goes in there somewhere, like a little cold air duct. Okay, so at this point we're gonna go ahead and pull out the radiator shroud. And there's gonna be a little snap right here. And there's gonna be a little, this one actually has a screw right here. Some of them have a little snap still. So we're gonna take our dikes, go down to here. We're gonna pinch under the head of that little snap. And we're just gonna kind of pull it out. Pull it out of the way. I like to put everything up here if you don't have a little tray handy. And let me get a Torx bit for that little guy. Okay, so this guy right here should be a T27, but I noticed when I was putting it in there, somebody's kind of stripped her out, so he's an X size smaller, and be super careful. That's pretty common for those that strip out. People, a lot of times they try to use the Allen key and not a Torx. This guy here should pull off without snapping it, like that. Let's go ahead and fish the wire out. Just kind of lay them off to the side right now. We'll put them back in later. And same way it goes with the plug. Pull it out of here. You got to fish it out of the shroud. Yeah, here we go. And then we just go ahead and push in on the two tabs right here. Squeeze, and it pulls right out. So no problem at all. And now we should be ready to lift the fan shroud out. Look how sweaty I am, man. It's hot as hell. It's about 96 out here. And before we can pull the fan shroud out, we got to pull the fan off. Okay, so we got her broken loose. It was really freaking tight. And those are reverse threads. They always go to the right. I don't know what's going on there, but I could barely get it off of there. With that being said, I could tell the fan clutch is super freaking bad. Let me go ahead and remove this stuff here. We're gonna have to pull that. Try to get this guy out of here. I'm gonna have to pop that wire out of this shroud over here. There we go. Pull it all out of here and put that shroud somewhere we're not going to step on it and break it. And look at the fan here. All the oil's leaked out of it, and it's all over the front of it, and it feels tight on there, but you could tell right away. You should be able to barely turn that. So we'll probably need to do that for him too. What that's going to do is, if you're sitting at a stoplight, it's 100 outside and AC's on, your front electric fan may not be able to keep up, and then the car's going to overheat. So let's go ahead and get the camera down here and see what's going on. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look here. At first glance, it looks okay, but you can see the belt's actually flipped. It's not even going around the power steering pump at all. It's flipped. It's running backwards off of this. Oh, well, that has something to do with it. So we don't know if it just broke, and the belt looks pretty shitty. So we're gonna have to go ahead and get this belt off of here, and we're gonna have to check the idler pulley and the tensioner pulley out, and we'll go ahead and take off the AC belt, and we'll go ahead and check the tensioner on the AC belt also. Okay, so all we've done here, we've taken these caps off. These caps cover the T50 bolt in the middle of these things. They're supposed to be on here. It wasn't on there. There's one on here. So what we're gonna have to do, we're gonna have to go and pull the AC belt off first. So we're gonna use, actually we're gonna use a torque wrench, because it has a longer handle on it. It's gonna be easier to do that. So we're just gonna, on this guy, we're just gonna loosen them up. Well, I'm gonna go the right way. Maybe. There we go. We're actually gonna tighten them up, and it loosens it. And then we're just gonna slip the belt off. Up here we have the two belts. We have the main drive belt, which, I mean, it could have broke because it was that rotten. That's not likely in these cars though. That's not a normal occurrence. AC belt looks a hell of a lot better, but if you look in here, it's still got cracks in it. So we probably need to put a new one of those on. This one does have the spring tensioner and not the hydraulic tensioner. That's going to make a difference, and go to order it. Let's go ahead and spin these pulleys and try to figure out what exactly is going on. Let's start off with the alternator and make sure everything's freed up. Alternator is free, feels perfect. The top pulley here was actually the idler pulley. That one's not good. It's toast. That didn't cause it to derail though. It's just getting bad. Probably making noise. The next one's the tensioner pulley, which is right here. Tensioner feels good. It spins a little long. It doesn't feel bad though. We might just go ahead and replace it. Let's go and look at the AC tensioner here. Kind of spinning for a long time. It's got a little play in it. I might just go ahead and see if we got all three of these. Let's test out the power steering pump. Make sure the pulley's not broke. We're going to go ahead and do the water pump. Make sure the water pump's good. We're going to grab a hold of it. Even though they say just replace this, we've been having bad water pumps. So let's go ahead and test it out for them. We're going to wiggle it. No problems. You're going to inspect the pulley real carefully for cracks, any kind of hairline fractures. And you're going to want to look in behind there with a flashlight and make sure there's no white residue dripping out of it. If that's the case, I might have to reseal it. So it looks like we're all good here, guys. We're probably just going to go ahead and need, I would say, we'll do these two, and if I have the AC, I'll go ahead and do that one and put some new belts on it, reassemble it. Now, he also said that he was having a little bit of an oil leak, so we know, I'm not sure what exactly, if it was valve cover leak or if it was oil dipstick. I think he said it's dripping on the ground. If it's dripping on the ground, oil dipstick oil ring is probably almost certainly to blame. Okay, so we do have all the parts here. All we're doing right now is taking this pulley here off. That's a 16. This is standard thread, so it comes out righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, and then that's going to come off. Next, we're going to go ahead and pull this lower one off. That one don't feel that bad, but it does have some play in it. So we'll take it off, give it a close inspection. We'll probably go and replace it. And like I said, this one's been on here a while, but look at the play. You see here, look at the play in that thing. It just keeps spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning. That means it's probably towards the end of its life. And we're just going to go ahead and bolt these on. These are all standard thread. They're not reverse thread. So we'll go ahead and pull that off, get everything replaced, and we'll come back. Okay, so here's where we're at. We replaced the bottom one. That one's good. And we're replacing the top one. I wanted you to see on the top one, you can see back here there's a little peg. That little peg has to line up in that hole. You can see it right there. That's one thing you got to watch out for. And once it's lined up, kind of hard to do with one hand. There we go. And we'll put the bolt back in. I don't remember what the torque specs on these were. I'll have to look them up. I think they're around 30-35 foot-pounds. You don't have to go crazy on them. They don't like to come loose. So we're gonna go ahead and do some more looking to see if I have any one of these. This pulley, if I remember right, is the same as this one. And we'll look on the shelf, do some more digging. I didn't see one at a quick glance, so we'll keep on looking for it. Okay, so here we are. We got the 3 old pulleys up here. We got the 3 new ones already installed. We're ready to go for the belts. And you can see by looking at these old pulleys, this was actually the AC pulley. And you can see all the grease. This is on the front of it, not the back, and it's clear. It's actually throwing the grease out of the bearing. That's when you spin them and they keep spinning forever. This guy here, it's got some grease in the back, could be from the engine, but when you spin them, you can feel it's notchy, you can feel it rumbling. And of course the idler pulley on the main, it was totally screwed. It won't even spin. You can feel it's all dry in it. So all 3 of those are replaced. I didn't show me wrenching everything out, but at this point in time, you guys have pretty much put together what you need to do. And we're gonna go ahead and put the belts on. I had a new AC belt. This other belt I had on the other E46, I put it on there. The car hasn't been driven, it's brand new. It only basically drove around the yard here. So we're gonna go ahead and just snag that for right now. That way it's brand new, we know it's good to go, and I don't have to go run to O'Reilly's and get it, and I could actually take my time and order another one off eBay and only pay about a quarter of the price for it. Because when I bought this one from O'Reilly's, I don't remember what brand it even was, it was crazy expensive. It was, I don't remember, I think it was a Duralast from AutoZone or something. It was like 22 bucks at any rate. So they're crazy there. I know you get the same ones off eBay for, you know, 10, 12 bucks. So that's what we're going to do. Probably just go ahead and stock up and get a few of them in. So we're going to go and reassemble that when we come back. Okay, so here we are. I don't know if you can see very good. The sun is so bright out here. The belts reinstalled. A lot of you guys have a lot of trouble with these belts. I don't know why that is. The routing on it, you're going to go basically around the power steering pump, straight up around the alternator. It's going to dip down under the idler. It's going to go over the water pump. It's going to go under the water pump and U back on that pulley and go back around the crank pulley. That's the procedure. Remember, you have to do that before you put the alternator belt, or the AC belt, I'm sorry. The AC belt, not the alternator. We're going to put that on next. Okay, so here's the AC belt installed. It's just about as easy. The tensioner goes on the bottom and holds up on the bottom of the belt. And of course, it's self-explanatory how else it goes on. Make sure all these belts, guys, when you put them on, make sure they're all in the grooves. Make sure they're not hanging over the edge, right? And on the main belt also, make sure all that's good. If you do that, you never have any problems at all, and the car will run for a long time. If you mess it up and that belt runs off, and you're going to derail, and what's so bad about that is your water pump right here runs off that belt, off the main belt, and you might overheat and run the engine. Okay, so here's our fan clutch. You can see again how greasy it is. All the oils come out of it. It pretty much is freewheeling at this point. And you can run a car like this, but let me tell you something. It's harder than hell to get that to thread back up on the water pump. It's almost impossible. So we're gonna go ahead and pull these out. These are T5s. I already took one out. We're gonna go and pull the rest of them out. I like these a little impact. Make sure it's down in there good. They usually come out pretty easy. It's like so. Be careful not to drop that. Luckily, if we do, I'm the kind of guy that has a bunch of this stuff laying around. So if we lose any bolts, we go to the bolt bin and fish a new one out. So while we got the fan out here, we're gonna go ahead and inspect it. Nothing seems to be wrong with it at all. If you notice any cracks at all, just throw it in the trash can. They're only about 22, 25 bucks for a brand new one. So we're gonna go and switch this out with the new one, the new fan clutch, and come back here in a minute. Okay guys, so here we go. We're gonna try not to knock the camera over and have it bustle over the trailer hitch here. So let's go ahead and drop the shroud in, but before we can drop it all the way in, what we're gonna have to do, we're going to have to drop the fan in along with it. And the E46s that don't have a fan clutch are easy as hell to do this because you don't have to mess with the fan at all, but for some reason they only did that a few years and they didn't keep doing it, so whatever. We'll drop it in there. We're just gonna let the fan sit down inside the shroud. We're going to make sure the shroud's all the way locked in, make sure the bottom snaps are locked in. At this point in time, we're going to go ahead and get our tools ready here. Our fan tools. We only need the wrench for the going back on. And we're going to go ahead and try. I don't think I can get you the shot guys in here to see this. Okay, so I got it started. It wasn't too bad. I ended up having to use the wrench to start it with though. And you got to be careful doing that. I'm freaking sweating all over the place like a wild animal. You got to be careful doing that. You can't go very quick on it. You have to be very gentle. And then what's going to happen when you start it, you're just going to keep spinning it on. And if you try to force it with that wrench at all, you'll cross thread it and you're going to end up running the water pump. So don't do that. Spun it on. We're going to take the wrench. We're going to go down here. We're just going to snug it. Let's see if I can get down in here with the camera in the way. And we're just going to snug it just till it turns. And no more at all. That's as far as you want to go. If you go any more, you're just hurting yourself. And then the final product is going to be a fan that has drag on it. And you can see it has nice drag. You can't spin it. It feels nice, has nice resistance when it's cold. And we're going to go ahead and reinstall the auxiliary fan relay, which is right here. That runs the electric fan in the front. And we're going to go ahead and plug all this stuff back in, and we should be good to go. Okay, so we're going to plug the auxiliary fan back in. We're going to go ahead and tuck the wires back in the little holder like that. We're going to go ahead and put the fan relay back in. You can see it has little hooks on one side. I think I did it backwards. Yep. Go one way. It just basically pushes in there. So at that point in time, we're going to go ahead. We're going to put our Torx bit screw back in here and our snap back in here. And then we're done with this part of the job. Okay guys, so here we go. Everything's up and running good. Now, we did not put the airbox back in or the shroud back on yet. We want to make sure everything was good to go. There was no noises. So now we know everything's fine. We're going to go ahead and do the reinstall back on this. That's only 2 bolts. On this guy here, you just pop the little pins back in. It's super easy. And we're going to go ahead and throw everything else in the trunk. Show you this. Both the belts, the other belt. Where the hell did I put the other belt? It's Sequoia, I think. You get the other belt for him. So both belts. I'm going to show him all the pulleys, and we'll go ahead and show him the fan clutch also. And when we take it back to him, that way he knows what we did, even though he could watch the video. A lot of you guys that run shops, it's always a good idea to have the old parts to show the customer. That way there's no question on anything. But that's it guys. Thanks for watching the video. Hopefully it helps some of you guys out.